Yeah, it's a big story developing right now because about 200 local districts still in contract negotiations. The Washington Education Association telling me that number usually right now about 150 at this time, but it's about 200, and here's why. The Washington Education Association calling this a historic year, a once-in-a-generation opportunity to negotiate what they believe should be new contracts, bigger contracts. For years, Washington underfunded education, but thanks to the McCleary Supreme Court case, there's a bunch of new money coming in, a good chunk of it supposed to go to the teachers and other staff.
But the goal is the same everywhere. Because of the McCleary court decision, the state of Washington has increased funding for K-12 public schools by billions of dollars, including $2 billion specifically to increase educator salaries.
And there are still a bunch of big districts that are negotiating, fighting for bigger raises, including Seattle, Kent, Federal Way, Tacoma, Puyallup, Mount Vernon, Spokane. Many of these districts starting classes very soon. But one of the things that's playing into this is this map as well. This is a map from the state of Washington right here, provided by the Washington Education Association. And it shows some of the districts that may be, for others, part of the problem. It shows a map of districts that have already reached agreement. Some of these have agreed to big raises, some of them double-digit raises. Let's see if I can click on one right here. The Shoreline School District, they gave their staff a 24% raise. So they're with the other ones that have not settled yet. They are seeing what other districts are doing. Perhaps that's delaying things for ongoing negotiations. We're going to be keeping a close eye on this as this story develops. Joyce and Steve.
Right, Alex, thank you. You talked about the McCleary decision some. At the center of the contract discussion is exactly that and new funding. So here are some of the basics. Back in 2012, the state Supreme Court ruled that Washington was not properly funding K-12 public schools, and so it did order the legislature to come up with a solution. In June, the court found the state satisfied conditions of the McCleary decision, triggering extra funding. The extra funding is what the teachers are looking for those raises. And so that is part of the issue here.